In the grand narrative of success, we are often presented with two distinct protagonists. The first is the tireless grinder, the individual who arrives before sunrise and leaves long after sunset. Their story is one of sheer effort, of pushing against resistance until it finally gives way. This is the path of hard work. Then there is the second protagonist, the clever strategist. This person seems to achieve remarkable results with an almost effortless grace. They don't necessarily work longer hours, but every action they take is precise, targeted, and incredibly effective. This is the path of smart work. For generations, these two ideals have been held up as the primary routes to achieving our goals, especially within the competitive landscape of business. The debate between smart work and hard work is not merely a philosophical exercise. It is a practical question that every entrepreneur, every manager, and every ambitious employee must confront daily. Where should we invest our most precious resource, our time? Is success a simple equation of hours logged and sweat expended? Or is there a more elegant, more intelligent way to navigate the challenges of the modern marketplace? The answer, as is often the case with such profound questions, is not a simple choice between one or the other. It lies in understanding the unique power that each approach holds, and more importantly, how they can be woven together to create a truly formidable strategy for achievement. To truly grasp this dynamic, we must first look beyond the surface-level definitions. We must deconstruct these concepts and examine their components. What does it truly mean to work hard? It is more than just long hours. It is about persistence, resilience, and the willingness to perform difficult, often repetitive tasks. And what does it mean to work smart? It is more than just having a good idea. It is about planning, leveraging technology, delegating effectively, and constantly seeking a better, more efficient method. The story of modern business success is not a simple tale of one hero triumphing over the other. Instead, it is a complex interplay between these two powerful forces. It is the story of how raw effort, when guided by intelligent strategy, can produce outcomes that neither could achieve alone. This essay will explore the essence of both hard work and smart work. We will look at their individual merits and their inherent limitations. We will examine real-world examples of how businesses have leveraged these principles to rise to the top. Ultimately, we will seek to provide a clear and actionable framework for anyone looking to build their own story of success, not by choosing a side, but by mastering the art of both. At its very core, hard work is the application of sustained effort and energy towards a task or goal. It is the physical and mental exertion required to move from point A to point B through sheer force of will. Think of the farmer tilling a field by hand under the hot sun. There is no shortcut, no clever hack. The work is straightforward. The more hours spent, the more ground is covered. This is the classic image of hard work, a direct linear relationship between input and output. It is about volume, persistence, and an unwavering commitment to seeing a task through to its completion, regardless of the obstacles or the monotony involved in the process. In a business context, hard work often manifests as long hours at the office, meticulously checking every detail of a report, or making one more sales call at the end of an exhausting day. It's the salesperson who visits 50 clients a week instead of 25, believing that the law of averages will eventually work in their favor. It is the software developer who stays up all night to manually fix hundreds of bugs one by one before a product launch. This approach is built on the foundational belief that effort is the primary currency of success. The more you spend, the more you earn. There is a certain nobility in this, a tangible sense of accomplishment that comes from pure, unadulterated toil. The defining characteristic of hard work is its focus on doing. It prioritizes action over planning. The hard worker often jumps directly into a task, believing that momentum is key. Why spend an hour planning the best route to build a wall when you could spend that hour laying the first row of bricks? This mindset is incredibly valuable in situations where the path is clear and the task is labor-intensive. It is the brute force that can overcome inertia and get a project off the ground. It is the relentless engine that powers through tedious necessary jobs that cannot be automated or delegated away easily. Consider the simple example of a new restaurant owner. In the beginning, success is almost entirely a function of hard work. They are the first to arrive to accept deliveries and the last to leave after scrubbing the floors. They cook, they serve, they manage the books. They do everything because they have to, pouring in 80-hour weeks to keep the doors open. There is no complex strategy at play here, only the raw, necessary effort to survive and build a foundation. This is hard work in its purest form, the essential foundational labor upon which future, smarter strategies can eventually be built. It is the sweat equity that gives a new venture life. If hard work is the engine, then smart work is the steering wheel and the GPS. It is not about the amount of energy expended, but the intelligence with which that energy is directed. Smart work is the art of achieving the maximum possible output with the minimum necessary input. It is about strategy, planning, and leverage. It is the conscious and deliberate act of stepping back from a problem to find a more efficient, more effective, or simpler solution. The smart worker does not ask, "How can I work harder to solve this?" Instead, they ask, "What is the best way to solve this with the resources I have?" Let's revisit the farmer. The hard-working farmer tills the field by hand. The smart-working farmer, however, first analyzes the soil to determine the optimal crop. They might invest in an irrigation system to water the fields automatically, or use a tractor to plow the entire field in a fraction of the time it would take by hand. The goal is the same, a successful harvest, but the approach is fundamentally different. It is about prioritizing tasks, automating what can be automated, and delegating what can be delegated. It is a mindset focused on optimization rather than sheer exertion. The smart worker seeks to multiply their effort, not just add to it. In the business world, smart work is embodied by the manager who spends a day creating a reusable project template that saves their team 10 hours of work every week. It is the marketing team that uses data analytics to target a small, specific audience with a highly effective ad campaign, rather than spending a huge budget on a broad, untargeted one. It is the entrepreneur who builds a system that allows their business to run smoothly, even when they are not physically present. Smart work is about creating systems, processes, and tools that reduce the need for future hard work. It is an upfront investment of thought that pays long-term dividends in efficiency. A simple example can be seen in email management. The hard worker might spend 2 hours every morning meticulously reading and responding to every single email in their inbox as it arrives. The smart worker, on the other hand, might set up filters to automatically sort incoming mail, use canned responses for common inquiries, and check their email only at designated times, such as 11 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. This frees up large, uninterrupted blocks of time for focused, high-value work. The result is the same, the inbox is managed. But the smart worker has reclaimed hours of their day for more important strategic tasks. This is the essence of smart work, a small change in strategy leading to a large gain in productivity. The value of hard work is undeniable, particularly in the formative stages of any endeavor. It is the force that builds momentum from a standstill. When you are just starting a business, you often lack the capital, the reputation, or the experience to work smart. All you have is your own time and energy. Hard work is what allows you to compensate for these deficits. It builds discipline, resilience, and an intimate understanding of your business from the ground up. By doing every job yourself, you learn the intricacies of each role, which becomes invaluable knowledge when you later need to hire and manage others. Hard work is the crucible where character and expertise are forged. Furthermore, a culture of hard work can be a powerful motivator. It creates a sense of shared purpose and camaraderie within a team. When everyone is visibly putting in the effort, it fosters an environment of mutual respect and accountability. No one wants to be the person who lets the team down. This raw effort is often necessary to push through difficult periods, to meet tight deadlines, or to overcome unexpected crises. There are moments in every business's journey where no amount of clever strategy can replace the simple necessity of everyone rolling up their sleeves and putting in the hours to get the job done. It's the brute force solution that sometimes is the only solution available. However, relying solely on hard work has significant limitations and can lead to diminishing returns. The most obvious drawback is burnout. The human body and mind are not machines. They cannot operate at maximum capacity indefinitely. A culture that glorifies long hours above all else inevitably leads to exhaustion, decreased creativity, and a higher rate of employee turnover. An employee who works a 70-hour week may be less productive, more prone to errors, and less innovative than one who works a focused 40-hour week. The more is always better philosophy eventually collides with the reality of human biology. Moreover, hard work without direction can be incredibly inefficient. It is like trying to chop down a tree with a dull axe. You can swing it with all your might for hours and make very little progress. The hard worker might spend all day swinging, while the smart worker would have taken 30 minutes to sharpen the axe first. In business, this translates to wasted resources. A sales team making hundreds of cold calls, hard work, may see far fewer results than a team that spends time researching and targeting 20 high-potential leads. Smart work, blindly applying effort without strategic thought, can lead to a lot of activity but very little actual progress toward meaningful goals. The primary strength of smart work lies in its scalability and leverage. While the output of hard work is directly tied to the hours you put in, the output of smart work can be multiplied exponentially. Creating a single, well-designed system or piece of technology can save thousands of hours for an entire organization. Consider the development of an effective customer relationship management or CRM software. The initial effort to build and implement it is a form of smart work. Once in place, it automates follow-ups, tracks customer interactions, and provides valuable data, allowing the sales team to be more effective without necessarily working longer hours. This is leverage in action. A single strategic act creating ongoing, widespread value. Smart work also fosters a culture of innovation and continuous improvement. It encourages employees to think critically about their tasks and to constantly ask, is there a better way to do this? This mindset is crucial for long-term survival and growth in a rapidly changing business world. A company that rewards smart work is a company that evolves. It adapts to new technologies, refines its processes, and stays ahead of the competition. Instead of just celebrating the employee who stayed late to finish a report, it celebrates the employee who created a macro that generates the report in 5 minutes, freeing up everyone's time for more strategic thinking. However, the path of smart work is not without its own pitfalls. One of its greatest limitations is the risk of analysis paralysis. The pursuit of the perfect, most efficient plan can sometimes become an excuse for inaction. A team can spend so much time strategizing, debating, and planning that they never actually start doing the work. In these cases, a bias for action, a hallmark of hard work, would have been far more productive. Sometimes the only way to find the smart path is to start walking down the hard one and learn as you go. Perfection can be the enemy of progress. Furthermore, an overemphasis on smart work can sometimes lead to a disconnect from the practical realities of the business. A strategist who only looks at spreadsheets and data charts may miss the nuanced, on-the-ground challenges that their team faces every day. There is a danger of becoming too clever, of designing elegant systems that are impractical or that ignore the human element of work. Without the foundational experience that often comes from hard, hands-on labor, a smart worker's plans can be brittle and unrealistic. They might design a brilliant automated workflow that, in practice, frustrates customers or demotivates employees, something they would have understood if they had spent time doing the work manually first. The interplay between hard and smart work is not theoretical. We can see it clearly in the stories of some of the world's most successful companies. Let's first look at McDonald's. Ray Kroc did not invent the hamburger. His genius was not in the product itself, but in the system. He applied smart work to the restaurant industry. He and the McDonald brothers developed the Speedy Service System, a highly optimized assembly line process for making food. Every step was timed and choreographed for maximum efficiency. This system, smart work, allowed them to serve customers faster and more consistently than any competitor. But it was built on the foundation of the repetitive, demanding labor, hard work of its kitchen crews. The brilliance was the smart system that harnessed hard work on a massive scale. Next, consider the difference between Blockbuster and Netflix. Blockbuster's business model was rooted in hard work. It required immense physical infrastructure, thousands of brick-and-mortar stores, each staffed by employees who managed inventory, rewound tapes, and handled late fees. Their growth was linear, To serve more customers, they had to build more stores. Netflix, on the other hand, began with a smarter model. By mailing DVDs, they centralized their inventory and eliminated the need for thousands of physical locations. This was a significant leap in efficiency, but their true genius move was pivoting to streaming. This was the ultimate application of smart work, creating a system that could deliver content to millions of customers simultaneously with minimal marginal cost. Blockbuster worked hard, Netflix worked smart. A third example is the story of Toyota versus traditional American automakers in the 20th century. For decades, Detroit's model was built on mass production, a system that prioritized volume and hard work on the assembly line. Toyota, however, introduced the Toyota Production System, or lean manufacturing. This was a philosophy of smart work. It focused on eliminating waste, muda, continuous improvement, kaizen, and empowering every worker to stop the assembly line if they spotted a defect. Instead of just working harder to produce more cars, they worked smarter to produce better cars with less waste and fewer errors. This strategic focus on quality and efficiency eventually allowed Toyota to surpass its rivals, proving that how you work is often more important than how hard you work. These examples reveal a common pattern. Hard work is often the starting point. It's necessary to get a business off the ground and to understand the fundamentals of an industry. However, breakout success, the kind that disrupts industries and creates lasting dominance, almost always comes from an application of smart work. It comes from building a better system, leveraging technology, or fundamentally rethinking the old way of doing things. The companies that thrive are those that learn how to transition from a reliance on pure effort to a culture of strategic efficiency, using intelligence to amplify the impact of their labor. So, which path should a modern business professional choose? The great secret is that this is a false choice. The most successful individuals and organizations do not choose between hard work and smart work. They synthesize them. The ultimate business hack is not one or the other, but a dynamic and intelligent integration of both. The journey to success can be seen as a progression. You begin with hard work, and you use the experience and knowledge gained from that effort to learn how to work smart. The goal is to create a virtuous cycle where hard work provides the foundation and smart work provides the leverage. My advice to someone starting in business is this: embrace the grind at the beginning, do the hard work, answer the customer service calls yourself, pack the boxes, code the website. This hands-on labor is your education. It is where you will discover the inefficiencies, the pain points, and the opportunities for improvement that no business plan could ever predict. You cannot design a smarter system until you have intimately understood the friction and flaws of the current one. This initial phase of hard work builds your credibility, your resilience, and your practical knowledge base. It is the price of admission to the game. Once you have that foundation, you must consciously shift your focus. Begin to ask the questions of the smart worker. What tasks am I doing repeatedly that could be automated? Which 20% of my efforts are generating 80% of my results? How can I build a system or a process that does this work for me? This is where you leverage technology, delegate tasks, and invest your time in activities that have a multiplying effect. You transition from being the engine of the business to being the architect. Your value is no longer measured in hours worked, but in the quality of your decisions and the efficiency of the systems you create. Ultimately, the ideal is to cultivate a mindset of strategic laziness. This doesn't mean avoiding work. It means being so committed to achieving your goal that you are relentlessly driven to find the most direct and efficient path to get there, even if that path requires a significant upfront investment of thought and effort. Work hard on the things that matter, and work smart on everything else. Master the discipline of hard work to build your foundation, and then master the art of smart work to build your empire. This balanced, integrated approach is the true key to unlocking extraordinary and sustainable success in the modern world.